So because of the nature of my work, my life change is on almost a weekly basis. I mean, my schedule is never consistent. It typically changes sometimes day to day. Sometimes I have projects that go on for a few weeks. I travel all over the country, all over the world. Things tend to always be changing in my life. And the one thing that has served me most throughout all of that continuous change is understanding that each and every day needs to be treated very uniquely. So as much as I am a proponent for setting goals and kind of sticking with your intentions and creating routines that you really vow to stick with, that conformity and that degree of consistency can really help to integrate new and positive habits into your life. Nothing can be underestimated by that. But on the flip side, it is so important for you to check in on an almost daily basis to see, is that still working for me? Is that working for me today? Those habits, those thoughts, those relationships, they might be good one day, but the next day maybe it doesn't serve you very well. And a lot of times we kind of pigeonhole ourselves to continue through thought processes, through plans, through habits, through relationships, because we really feel like we will fail if we don't stick to that level of consistency. And this isn't giving you a cop-out in case something isn't working or is working and you're just too lazy to continue with it. But what it is saying that sometimes plans change because life happens and things change on a daily basis. So yes, maybe your goal is to come up with a really strict plan financially to help you get your money back in order to help reduce your debt, to help raise your income, whatever it might be. But you need to also not get yourself so stuck in your ways that when you do have money, you're terrified of spending it in a form of investing in yourself, in your own new habits, new education, new goals, whatever it might be. So it's so important, like I said, to check in every single day. This isn't something that you can really apply to everything, but that's the point of this video, is to remind you that you cannot pinpoint one specific idea, one specific plan on a whole broad spectrum of your life. I love creating habits for myself, but I also recognize that I need to be lenient with them, because when I'm traveling all over the place, it's not worth it to stress about upholding that habit. And how is that beneficial at that point, to uphold a habit when it's only creating stress for you? It's good to create scenarios where you give yourself some leeway so that you can take a day off if you need to. This is why so many diets fail, because you feel like you have to eat this way. And then as soon as you get to a point where you break, then it's like you let the floodgates loose and you can't stop yourself, as opposed to being lenient, being kind, understanding that each and every day is different. Because the interesting thing is that every strength can become a weakness on a flip of a dime, because life changes. A relationship might be incredibly beneficial to you, but as your life changes, as you evolve, as they evolve, things happen, and sometimes it's not the most beneficial relationship for you anymore. It doesn't mean you're less of a person, it doesn't mean they're less of a person, but it's no longer serving you. So this brings me back to that concept of having an ideal, having a plan, knowing who you are, knowing what you need, knowing what your big picture is. So like I said, every day or every other day or every few days you stop, you check in and say, what do I need to do today? Instead of saying, I'm going to do this every day for the next month, for the next year, whatever it might be, stopping, checking in and saying, what do I need to do today to make me feel better, to make me honor myself, to make me be more and do more and work in the direction of my goals, of my greater life goals. And that's not something that I believe you can answer with one or two quick things. It's more something that you need to check in with on a very regular basis. Because even if you do have some really positive habits, it's good to know when they're still serving you or when it's time for a switch, when it's time for something different. That doesn't mean that the habit isn't good anymore. It's just that it's not good in this instance. So the more you know yourself, the more you can check in each and every day and say, what do I desire today? What will make me feel nurtured today? What will make me feel strong today or safe today? What will help me learn today? What it all comes down to is going with the flow. Now this, again, can be viewed in very different perspectives, and it's important to know the difference. Go with the flow on the negative sense can mean that you're going with the flow of what everyone else around you is doing, which is never beneficial, because then you lose sight of who you are and what you want and what you need to be doing because you're too caught up in everyone else. You kind of lose touch with your ideals, with your goals, with everything else. On the other side of that is knowing who you are so clearly that you can go with your own flow. So that life can throw its changes at you, so that every day can be different. But every day you know your own flow. You know who you are, what you value, what you're working towards, what you desire, what you have and want to maintain. And each and every day you create this riverbed and you're literally just floating down it. You are within your own flow, and it makes it incredibly easy to make decisions, to get up every day, to know what you need to do, and to be okay with it not being exactly what you did yesterday, or it not being according to your plan, or it not being what you thought you should be doing. Because you wake up every day with an open mind of doing what is best to fit into your needs that day. Don't get so caught up on the outcome that you lose track of what you are doing to get there. And don't get so caught up in the outcome that you lose track of maybe that outcome no longer is best for you, because things like that happen. Unfortunately, these aren't very easy answers, but they're answers that if you can learn to relate to them, you will always be able to find your centeredness, you will always be able to find your peace, you will always be able to find your joy, you will always be able to find your power, regardless of what life throws at you. And that is a power that no one can ever give you. You can only give to yourself. But that is a power that is within you, and that's beautiful.